Welcome back to Kentucky. The Built Ford Tough 225 about to get underway. The trucks are rolling around this mile-and-a-half racetrack. New owner Randy Moss is right there on pit road, waiting to see how Willie Allen and the starting of the Randy Moss Motorsports team, how it works out here at Kentucky Speedway. The starting grid's going to roll across the bottom of the screen. Again, it's Mike Skinner grabbing his 46th career pole. Kyle Busch. Those two will lead the field to the green flag. We have a few different spotlights, and we're having an added bonus tonight with Chris Devoted added to the team. We want to start off, though, with Ray Dunlap and Willie Allen.
You know, Rick, one of the things I really like is the difference in this series between the veterans and the young drivers. And we've got quite a few of them. Matter of fact, we're going to spotlight young guys tonight here at Kentucky, and Willie Allen on the top of that list. You know, he's won a lot of races in Kentucky, won a lot of races in Nashville. He's won a couple of championships, too, but he hasn't won in the Craftsman Truck Series. And boy, would it be a big story if he was able to win on the debut night for Randy Moss Motorsports. He's driving number 81. Adam?
And how about the driver that's in the 15 tonight? We're talking about Mark Mitchell. Earlier today, he qualified 6th. Unfortunately, that was on his first lap. On his second lap, he hit the wall, and that's bad news because he's gone to a backup. And that primary truck gave him his career best finish earlier this season. Not the way Mark Mitchell wanted to start the night, but he hopes to finish much better, battling back from adversity. Here to start the evening at Kentucky. Krista?
Well, Timothy Peters in the number 17 has a special reason, some inspiration on board tonight. They are carrying the colors of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Little Cody Neisler, 10 years old, from Michael's hometown of Owensboro, Kentucky. He is a cancer survivor. He's in remission. He is here. It's an early birthday present. He will turn 11 on Tuesday. Good luck to Timothy and Cody. Phil?
Krista, I want to take a look at that number 63 truck right there. That is the ARCA Remax regular Justin Allgaier. Going to make a few starts possibly this year in the Mittler Brothers number 63. Dave Porter Ford Truck Sales is a sponsor. Remember, this truck right here is the truck that gave Jamie McMurray his start in NASCAR, as well as Carl Edwards his start in NASCAR. Justin Allgaier, 2 wins already this season in the ARCA Remax Series. Had a top 5 here last night. Looks for a good run here in the Mittler Brothers number 66 Ford. Mikey.
I want to look at the 91 right behind your guy, the 63 Ford that we saw. This is J.C. Stout. J.C.'s 24 years old from upstate New York. His family-owned team is how he's trying to get his roots established in NASCAR. He's run a couple of nationwide series races this year, has a career best finish of 19th. He'll be looking for a top 20 tonight here in Kentucky in that number 91.
We'll ride along with a few different drivers and trucks. The first one that we'll be on board with is the 30 of Todd Bodine. The Onion will carry one of our cameras, and so we will start with him in the 7th position, so close to the front for Todd Bodine. Also carrying a camera will be Terry Cook. That's our Toyota onboard that we will ride along with Terry Cook. The next onboard we're with is the Ford onboard of Eric Darnell. And an added bonus tonight for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We hope to carry a camera on one of our jackmen, the jackman for the 99 team. We're going to try to give you a different view of what takes place on pit road. Matt Cox will be carrying our jackman cam. Let's go back trackside for final thoughts with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, we've been talking an awful lot about Mike Skinner and what a different year it is in 2008 from 2007. Let's look at some of the numbers. 650-some laps led a year ago, and so far this year, only 8 laps led. That is hard to believe. And look at where Skinner is in the points. But tonight, he hopes to get his season back on track. He rolls off from the pole at a racetrack where he got a victory 1 year ago. So far, we have not seen Mike Skinner at the front of the field very much in 2008. He hopes to change that tonight at Kentucky. Double A.
Todd Bodine starts 7th tonight, Ray, in Kentucky Speedway, one of the tracks where he has never visited victory lane in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. But perhaps that could change tonight, because check out his strength in mile-and-a-half facilities. 8 wins in 13 victories in his career for Todd Bodine. Those numbers amazing. Ron Hornaday, Kyle Busch, and Brendan Gaughan, the other career leaders at mile-and-a-half racetracks, hoping to get a win here tonight in the Bluegrass. Krista?
Well, Adam, keep your eyes on Terry Cook. He also has not won at Kentucky, but he's won at Kansas, a track that's very similar. This is a special race for Terry and his team because Jeff Weiler Automotive Group, they are located with several dealerships in the Cincinnati area. They have 250 employees and family in the stands. Jeff Weiler, also part owner of the Cincinnati Reds. Terry Cook was there at the game Thursday night. He said the biggest game in town, though, is right here at the Kentucky Speedway. And Rick and Phil, I'm so excited to be back on pit road. Let's go.
Michael, you can get excited too with us if you'd like.
We're in Kentucky. I always look forward to coming here.
The field is coming out of turn number 4. We're about to get underway. 150 laps, 225 miles, and the green flag is in the air.
And that's 2 men on the front row that are determined to lead this first lap. I guarantee it.
Neither one of these guys is going to back off, that's for sure. A lot of room right now between those 2 trucks.
2 wide back behind them as well as they continue to battle for positions, but no one has given up that top spot. It looks, though, as Mike Skinner will duck in behind the 51. Look at the run Johnny Benson has.
His teammate said, let me take a look at the bottom. Not going to quite. Oh, he is going to get a good run off the center of the corner.
Staying on the bottom of the racetrack has worked for Johnny Benson. It also has given Kyle Busch the opportunity to lead lap number 1 here at Kentucky.
I'm impressed with what this 23 team that Johnny Benson, Trip Bruce, and those guys have been able to accomplish. He qualified terrible, it seemed.
Whoa, up the track.
Looks like Chad McCumbee, maybe that 8 truck.
He couldn't qualify up near the front at all, but he'd always race to the front. Here he is at a big track. Kentucky qualifying up front, has driven up to 2nd place.
Riding along with Terry Cook and that Toyota onboard, giving us a shot of Chrissy Wallace and that 03 getting a little loose out there. Also David Starr.
Real loose.
Yeah,
real loose getting that corner.
Here comes Mike Skinner looking at the inside of the 51.
Skinner battled his way around the 23 and tried to get the 51 all in the same turn.
Yeah, it looked like Kyle Busch ran way up the racetrack as he went through that quad oval.
Evidently that truck isn't cooperating with him like he wants it to.
Remember, Mikey talked about this tri-oval being so wide you could run, 6, 7, 8 wide, and these guys, they'll use the apron of the racetrack. They don't have enough room on the racetrack.
Look at this. Mike Skinner looking to the outside now as he's trying to take that top spot away from Kyle Busch. Caution for Shelby Howard, stopped in the middle of 3 and 4.
Hard contact with the left rear corner of that FarmPate.com truck. That's one of the Thor Sport Racing entries. Teammate to Matt Craftsman in the 88. A lot of damage to the left rear corner.
Yeah, I don't think they'll have a hard time getting that even fixed. Good enough to get it on the trailer, Phil.
And so our first caution comes out on lap 4 here at Kentucky for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Shelby Howard brings out the first pause in action. Summer's here, so put some sizzle into your wardrobe with Speed Swag. Visit the Speed store today and get 20 to 50% off all in-stock styles. That's t-shirts, hats, jackets, and much, much more. Don't wait. Go to speedtv.com, keyword swag, and buy today. Again, the first caution came out earlier, and on that caution, Chris Devoto, what are they doing to the 2 truck?
Well, bad news for Jack Sprague early in this race. They got on the radio and said he had a motor problem. He came down pit road. They put up the hood. They checked the plugs. They said, don't fix the problem. Just dissect it. Diagnose which one it is. So then he had to come back onto pit road. They're trying to fix the problem, but it looks like it's going to be 1 to go. They may fall way behind. More trouble. Bad luck, Adam, for Jack Sprague.
And no bad luck at all for Matt Craftsman. Championship contender looking good early. Started 13th, has already moved to 7th. They feel very confident about this race truck. And in 2 green flag laps, 6 positions, I would guess they should.
Jack Sprague's calling that close, getting off of pit road, if he's able to get in front of the pace truck.
Yeah, he has the green light down there. He didn't make it back out on pit road. But, Adam was talking about that 88 truck of Matt Craftsman. A lot of talk in the garage area this morning was that the 88 truck was very, very good. Maybe, if not the best, certainly one of the best 3 or 4 trucks here.
Ray, what else are you hearing on pit road?
Well, guys, Chrissy Wallace qualified 12th here tonight, and her dad, Mike, is racing the Nationwide Series race at Gateway in St. Louis. Guess where he qualified? 13th, and boy, you better bet she got on the phone real quick and said, Dad, let me tell you how much better I was tonight. But she didn't get a very good start there, and they're talking it over on the radio, telling her a little bit about how to pace herself for the starts here. Of course, tonight, just his 3rd career start in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for Chrissy Wallace.
An impressive starting position, obviously qualifying. She did a fine job going out late.
Yeah, and she was a little conservative on the first lap, yet still got sideways. Yeah. So I'm glad she had it 90% down into that first turn, so she had a little bit of room for error. And then we saw when the race started here, the truck looked still a little bit loose, got sideways in traffic, and lost a spot or 2.
Lights are out on the pace truck, so Randy Kaiser will pull that back onto pit road, and that means the field now in the hands of Kyle Busch, who's out in front of Mike Skinner, Johnny Benson, Ron Hornaday, and Justin Marks. Our top 5 as we're about to get back underway here at Kentucky Speedway. Kyle Busch sees the green flag in the air. We're back underway. Krista, what's the latest word on the 2?
Well, Rick, talk about pouring salt into the wounds on the number 2 team. They just got on the radio and said, Jack, don't pass anyone. We have to come back in. The reason, we're missing a hood pin.
Well, this is anytime you have a mistake early in the race, Phil, they can rebound from this. He's got a fast truck. He can get an Aaron's lucky dog and get right back into contention. So if they were able to fix whatever was wrong under the hood, they still got a shot to win this race.
Absolutely. And that's a motor program, Pro Motor out of Mooresville, North Carolina. A great engine program. Obviously, Ron Hornaday has the same situation. They've won 3 races already with Hornaday, so that may very well have been an ignition problem, maybe a spark plug. They were able to probably fix that thing.
Well, we can trace that all the way back to practice yesterday. He complained that the motor didn't run properly during his simulated qualifying run. And then in qualifying today on speed, he said it just didn't run right. So they have an issue. They just can't wait. They haven't been able to diagnose exactly what it is. Skinner likes that outside, doesn't he?
He's going for it. He made a run at Kyle Busch just prior to the caution flag coming out. He moved to the outside. Kyle was able to beat him off the corner, pull back out in front of him.
Kyle Busch still in front of that 5 of Mike Skinner, but that Toyota Tundra is looking very hungry to get up and start leading some laps here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It has been a long time since we have seen Mike Skinner in front of the field in the Truck Series.
Jack's got issues. Oh, he cuts off the 40 truck. Didn't know he's out there. It didn't appear. They made some contact, but his engine obviously isn't running up to full song. Look at him go through the center of the turn there, Phil. Now watch as they come on the straightaway. This 40 truck just run him right down.
See, watch Jack pull over to the inside there. I'm not sure that thing is down a full cylinder. He may have a spark plug that's a little bit fouled or something like that. We saw the 40 drive right back by him down the straightaway, but obviously Jack's truck is very, very good in the corners.
Here comes Mike Skinner looking to the inside of that 51 of Kyle Busch. Going to try to bring the 23 of Johnny Benson along as they come out of turn number 4. It's a 3-truck race to the start-finish line. Kyle Busch is going to be able to stay out in front, but now Johnny Benson battling the 5.
You know, Mikey, I think Kyle Busch saw where Mike Skinner was running on the racetrack, saw that he was gaining on him from the center off, and moved up there down at the other end of the racetrack.
So Mike said, I'm going to have to move up a little higher. Kyle, I can play that game. I can do just that.
There's a battle for 5th. Matt Crafton trying to take that spot away from Justin Marks. He looks to the inside. Problems coming out of turn number 2. Look at the smoke flying. This was in the middle of the pack. And we see a couple trucks, one of them being the 15 of Mark Mitchell, and the 17 also involved in this. That's Timothy Peters.
Timothy's able to get his truck going again.
No damage to that truck, it doesn't appear.
Doesn't look like he hit anything. There was a tremendous amount of smoke that a lot of the drivers had to negotiate their way through.
That's a scary feeling. That's when you really, you know, I always rely on my spotter when smoke goes up like that, and I want him to tell me exactly what to do. I'm up here where the spotter's staying, and you can't tell him what to do. I mean, you can't see. That smoke is blinding.
So again, the 17 of Timothy Peters involved, as well as the 07 of Ryan Lawler.
And guess who's going to get the Aaron's lucky dog?
What's he got caught to him?
That's the part of the trunk.
Take another look. That's Ryan Lawler in the 07 sliding on the bottom of the track.
There you see part of the from the air pressure that built up underneath the truck, it blew out part of the trunk.
It's hard to understand whether someone got into the back of the 17. Usually when there's a spin like that and people let off the gas to 17, oh, he just makes an evasive move to get under the 81 in the mess.
And got loose.
Lost control of his truck.
You see the air push up that trunk on that truck as well.
Great camera work, guys, catching that. He just was trying to work his way through the crash and got loose and spun out.
Lucky dog. The Aaron's lucky dog goes to the 2. Jack Sprague will get a lap back.
Coming down pit road to continue to work on that problem. We're hearing from Jack Sprague that may be a carburetor issue on that 2 truck.
So that team continues to work, and we go back trackside to Adam.
And here's Mark Mitchell in the pit lane. He, of course, had problems earlier today, wrecking in the qualifying session. They pitted at lap 6 for fuel only. They simply had no track position, so they didn't lose anything. Here, coming down to repair damage on the left side, they took tires on that side of the truck as well. Krista?
Well, Jack Sprague did indeed think it was a carburetor issue. Because they got the lucky dog, they thought, well, let's play strategy into our own hands. They came down pit road just to top off with fuel. Ray?
Around the wedge in the right rear for Eric Darnell. Now, he started 25th tonight, so crew chief Matt Pusha said, let's play the track position game. Do something different than the leaders have done. So they came in on lap number 13 here to make adjustments to try to make his truck a little better.
So Eric will bring his truck back out onto the racetrack. I misspoke. It was the 17, not the 15, that was involved in this incident. We talked about that bonus coverage. This is Matt Cox with his helmet cam, and he is the jackman for Eric Darnell. Take a look at all what he has to do on a pit stop here at Kentucky. All that takes place in about 14 seconds. Not bad. We'll be back for more. Green flag back in the air. Again, it is Kyle Busch in front of Mike Skinner, Johnny Benson, Ron Hornaday in fourth, and Justin Marks in fifth. Take a look at that 88. Early on, tries to get the position away from Justin Marks.
Yeah, good jump on the inside, right past the start-finish line for Matt Craftsman. Going to try to get back up in the top 5, or get in the top 5. Started way back in 13th.
He tucked it back in. He didn't want the 30 to get on the outside of him, so Matt Craftsman drove back up high and got in line. Now he's going to go to the bottom again, Adam.
And Matt Craftsman saying, I can get to him in the center, I just can't pull him in the straightaway. And maybe until now. He gets alongside Justin Marks here to take the position. For Craftsman, that's 13th to 5th in about 10 green flag laps. He has been impressive. And what about Marks, a Rookie of the Year contender, started 9th, and he has advanced several positions as well, running right now in front of his teammate Todd Bodine.
Looked like that truck was a little bit loose down there in 1 and 2, that truck of Justin Marks. Talked to Todd this morning, and he said it really made a lot of time up in that second groove. He said, I didn't worry so much about the bottom. I moved up to the second groove, and my truck really came around then.
And that's exactly what Mike Skinner is trying to pull off on Kyle Busch. He's running a higher line and is able to close on Kyle, exiting the corner. Kyle seems to get through the center of the corner a little bit better, however, and right now it's a dead heat. They can't seem to do anything with each other.
Numerous grooves being run by numerous drivers. Ray, what's going on with Todd Bodine?
Terrible tight. Todd has said he cannot get over how different his truck is right now than it was in practice and qualifying. Just absolutely terrible tight. They're going to have to make major adjustments on that Lumber Liquidators Toyota. Krista?
Well, it's been a little while since we've seen Kyle Busch in the Truck Series, but he is back, and he said it is just so much fun to race. In fact, he said this is his favorite of the 3 series. The most fun racing, he said, is in the Truck Series. Right now, his truck a little bit loose and tight, especially on the bottom of the racetrack.
And you know, Krista, what I love about Kyle Busch when he comes to this series, Mikey, you know how much he gets paid to run this truck?
I haven't heard, Phil.
Nothing. Not a dime.
And you would never know by watching him go, would you?
he drives like he needs money because he has always got his hands full with that 51.
He's only going to load up in the morning and fly to Iowa and race a late model car out there, so I suspect he's probably not getting paid much to do that either.
Take a look at this. Jack Sprague still having troubles on the racetrack. Eric Darnell and the Ford onboard getting a look at this 3 wide as they come out of turn number 2. Mark Mitchell right up against the wall there.
Remember, a lot of these trucks made a pit stop on their most recent caution flag.
Here's for second, Johnny Benson trying to take it away from Mike Skinner.
2 teammates out of Bill Davis Racing Shop battling.
Johnny's saying, if you don't go up there and get that lead from that boy, I'm going to do it, Mike. I bet you Skinner's thinking, if you would just bear with me for a couple of laps, Johnny, I'd pull this pass off.
3 Toyota Tundras running in the top 3 of this field. Then it's a couple Chevrolets with Ron Hornaday and Matt Craftsman 4th and 5th. And now another caution coming out. This time J.C. Stout has a blown engine.
Yeah, that was your spotlight driver right there, wasn't it, Mikey?
It certainly was. Just battling for wanting a top 20 finish, and she gives up the ghost on him.
So the caution coming out on lap 22 for J.C. Stout. Again, this is a 150-lap race. We've talked about the pit window anywhere from 55 to 60 laps, so probably a little early for our first pit stop. We'll slip away and be back with more green flag racing from Kentucky. Welcome back to the board. Built Ford Tough 225 as we're still under caution. Quite a few trucks did come on to pit road. Only a few stayed out. Kyle Busch, Mike Skinner, Justin Marks stayed out on the racetrack, as did Michael Annett. Adam Alexander, what happened on pit road?
Yeah, Matt Craftsman, one of the guys who came down pit lane, he elects to go right side tires. They topped off the fuel tank. No adjustments for the Menard Chevrolet.
23 of Johnny Benson also coming in. Johnny thought that he had maybe a wheel loose. He had a slight vibration. The car was also getting tight, so they took advantage of the caution to raise the track bar. Ray.
You know, Chris, it's interesting. All these guys on my end are very, very, very tight. Todd Bodine came in, put on 4 tires and fuel, made a track bar adjustment, took it up. David Starr put his track bar up. The number 99 also came back in, and the 03 of Chrissy Wallace. All of them raising their track bar to try to loosen these trucks up a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how much this track changes as the sun is beginning to go down. We're getting some shade on the front stretch, and it won't be too long till we'll be in darkness here at this track, and we'll see how those changes happen on the chassis throughout the course of the night.
Be under the lights here at Kentucky Speedway. And Chrissy Wallace coming in for some adjustments. 9 trucks stayed out on the racetrack, including Jason White. Jack Sprague stayed out there. That could be a little bit difficult because Sprague not up to speed, and he'll be starting up in front of this pack.
Yeah, the guy running 10th, Ron Hornaday, he came to the pit road, got gas and an adjustment only, no tires on that truck. So it's a great time to see how important tires are. You got guys that stayed out, and you got guys that pitted, and they're going to be right on top of each other.
Ted Musgrave had to restart at the very tail end because he left his pit with some equipment. You're not allowed to do that, so he will restart from the very back of the pack.
And he didn't mean to. He probably drove off with a wrench,
or something in the
window, and it fell out, so you didn't have to come back to pit road. But NASCAR penalizes you for leaving your pit with some of your equipment.
Mark Mitchell on the outside of the Lumber Liquidators Toyota. We've got that on board showing us where Todd Bodine is running. We got 2, 3, 4 wide here coming through the tri-oval.
I told you the front straightaway was wide.
Look at Chrissy Wallace in the middle of that pack on the outside, that blue Toyota number 03, right behind the 15 of Mark Mitchell. She's thinking about making it 3 wide in the middle.
She's not shy about getting in there and mixing it up with the boys, is she?
She sure isn't. Now she's going to work her way to the bottom side of the racetrack, try to get underneath that Mark Mitchell number 15 truck. There's our Toyota on board with Terry Cook. Terry's got a best finish of 6th there. Came a couple years ago.
That's a gaggle, Phil.
It really is. Look at them spread out as they get down in the corner.
Or as my buddy Cecil from Stewart, Virginia says, it's a bunch mob, too.
Take a look at this. Here comes Mike Skinner looking to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get by Kyle Busch. Busch running up high. Let's see if Skinner can get by that other Toyota Tundra he's been battling with since the start. That time by, it looks as though Skinner will now lead a lap here in Kentucky.
See if Kyle battles back on the outside. Remember, that's where Skinner was running early in the race. Kyle Busch moved up there and said, Skinner, you're going to have to go somewhere else if you're going to pass me.
Ray, is Skinner happy with that truck?
Really likes it, Rick. He can go high and low all over the place, and realize he's run 5 races here at Kentucky and led 4 of them for a total of 213 laps coming into tonight's race. So he's no stranger to being up front at this track, but he loves the way he can take his truck from the top to the bottom and pretty much wherever he wants to drive it.
And you know, he would know by now if that thing was going to go away, like we've seen it do so much this season. He just hadn't been able to keep that speed. He sits on the pole and qualifies up front and fades back. He's been up front long enough now. His tires have enough laps on them. That truck's going to be good all night.
Absolutely. We're on lap number 29. There's a good bunch of trucks there. There's Chrissy Wallace, moves to the inside of Terry Cook, the Toyota on board.
She went 3 wide down in that corner. Was able to hold her line low, and is she going to clear Terry Cook? No, he's back on the outside, side by side down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Brendan Gaughan's going to follow Terry Cook on the outside. Got John West Townley and Colin Brown right in front of that group, running side by side.
I was going to say, there's a shocker. Brendan Gaughan's going to go to the outside.
Chrissy runs good through the center of the corner and off. It doesn't have the momentum that Terry Cook does as he exits the corner.
She's doing a heck of a job, though. That's racing right there. That's a racer. You get down on the bottom, you battle 3 wide, and you keep your stuff up under you.
And watch, Terry Cook has given her enough room. We see so many times when the truck on the inside gets loose, when they lose air off that rear spoiler. Who battle for the lead? Skinner fighting on the outside.
Here comes Mike Skinner making the pass on Kyle Busch, but now Kyle Busch charging back on the bottom of the track.
When we looked last time, weren't they on the other side of each other?
I think they were.
And this time, Skinner's going to make it stick.
Yeah, how about that 9 truck right there, Rick?
Justin Marks has made his way up into the 3rd spot. Mike Lynette has followed him. Jack Sprague holding on to 6th, amazingly enough, even with maybe an ill-handling truck.
These trucks here just can't work it out. They're hung together. The 03 of Chrissy Wallace, the 09 of John West Townley.
Chrissy made a nice move down there at the other end of the racetrack. She used the lap truck of the 85 of Brett Raymer to get by Terry Cook. Now Brendan Gaughan is able to get by the 60 of Terry Cook. And now he is side by side with John West Townley in the 09.
Adam Alexander, what's going on with Justin Marks?
Now, he's been pretty quiet, likes where he is on the racetrack. They elected to stay out on that last caution to maintain track position. That's why he rides 3rd. And he's got some pretty good help on the radio tonight. Sean Case is spotting for him. You know, Justin Marks' experience at Kentucky in the ARCA REMAX Series a year ago. Case nearly won the 2 ARCA races here this year, including last night. He had a runner-up, and this evening he's calling the shots for Marks atop the spotter stand. Krista?
Well, Adam, a couple of our contenders, both in this race and for the championship. Ron Hornaday, if you're following the ticker at the top of your screen, you see that he has made up some ground despite coming in on that pit stop. That's because they did not change tires. It was fuel only and a chassis adjustment. He wanted to just tighten the truck up a little bit, going down on the track bar. Also, Johnny Benson, we talked about him coming in. He did change 4 tires. They raised the track bar. They went the other direction. But Johnny said the big problem he's having right now, his feet are getting very hot in his race truck. Adam?
And how interesting is this conversation on the radio? Matt Craftsman talking about how frustrated he is not being able to pass Ron Hornaday. The word from the spotter stand, wear him out. And I think Craftsman's doing just that right now.
Take a look at these trucks running side by side. You talked about not knowing how to shake it out. Brian Scott on the outside. Mark Mitchell ran through the middle there.
Remember the 16 of Brian Scott right of your screen and the 15 of Mark Mitchell. Both are in backup trucks because they crashed qualifying.
It's John Wood in the 21 back there running with this group. Here's some side-by-side racing. Ron Hornaday trying to take the position away from Jason White in that 08.
Jason White in the gunbrokers.com truck, he stayed out, Rick, and maintained that 5th spot for 10 or 12 laps. Just now got caught up to by Sprague and Hornaday in these trucks, but a solid run for that 08 truck and Jason White.
Side by side, Johnny Benson now on the inside of the gunbroker.com. 08 for Jason White.
See, watch Jason fight back on the outside. That is one of the very best trucks on the racetrack, Johnny Benson. Jason's holding his own.
He is doing just that. I'm proud of him.
Take a look at these 2 teammates running just in front of him. That's Jack Sprague on the outside. Ron Hornaday making the pass, goes by his teammate. Running the bottom of the racetrack now. Here's another battle for the lead. It's Kyle Busch on the outside, taking the position back away from Mike Skinner. Will he be able to hold on to it when they come out of 4?
These guys have battled from the drop of the green flag. Skinner had the pole, Kyle had the outside. Kyle led early on.
Yeah, just 42 1,000 separated them that time, and it was Kyle Busch that was in front.
Mike's strong down on the bottom of the racetrack. Has to move up the hill, though, and get behind Kyle off turn 2.
Krista, is Kyle happy with his truck?
Well, happy enough. You know, Kyle, he's such a perfectionist. He said right now his truck is tight before center of the turn, and then it whips loose. But a funny moment, if you saw the setup, our pre-race show, you saw Randy Moss on the set with us. When the driver intros happened, there was booing, and Randy was like, why are they booing? I said, well, that's Kyle Busch. He said, oh, no, they shouldn't be booing that kid. He knows how to race a truck. So Randy's already learned pretty quick.
Yeah, it didn't take long for Randy Moss to figure out the players here in NASCAR, and the one probably the best this season in all of NASCAR is that driver, the 51, Kyle Busch, taking the top position away from Mike Skinner here at Kentucky Speedway. We'll be back with more green flag racing after this. Thursday, catch back-to-back episodes of the all-new series Wrecked. Life in the crash lane. Accidents never take a day off, and danger never sleeps. Cleaning up the mess isn't for the faint of heart. Wrecked Thursday night at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, exclusively on Speed. Holding on to that top spot, Kyle Busch has put some distance now between himself and second place Mike Skinner, over a second. The difference between those two, Justin Marks running in the third spot. Then is Michael Annett, Ron Hornaday, your top 5. Matt Crafton, Johnny Benson, Jason White, Todd Bodine, and Jack Sprague rounding out the top 10.
You know, guys, Chrissy Wallace right now has made her way up to the 16th spot, and just a couple laps ago, she ran her fastest lap of the race, Mikey.
She got a little bit of break from the traffic. She's been in since the start of the race, Bill. I'm really impressed with the way she's getting in there and mixing it up. Then she got free and was able to run a really fast lap. This is another cat doing a great job. Michael Annett, only 22 years old. He's been real impressive in the starts he's made and running solidly in the top 5 right now. Krista, what's he saying?
Well, Mikey, he's running really well because he's corn-fed, an Iowa boy. That's why we have to give him a shout-out. We also need to talk about the fact that he's watching his teammate, Mike Skinner. His crew chief, Doug Walcott, getting on the radio and said, watch Skinner. I don't know if your truck can do what his is doing, but just observe. You will learn so much. Also doing very well, making a charge right now. Further back, chasing down Michael Annett is Ron Hornaday. Ron Hornaday is coming, Ray.
Let's add on number 30 also, Krista. Todd Bodine pitted on lap 22, put on 4 tires, fuel, and raised the track bar. But Todd says right now his truck is sideways loose on the way in and about a 9 tight coming off. But the good news is a bunch of those guys that pitted on 22 have a lot more fuel than the guys up front. Kyle Busch, Mike Skinner, and the 9, those guys up front very well may have to pit under green. We look for them to need fuel in about 7 to 8 laps from now.
The good thing for those cats, though, Phil, they got a big lead. So the Kyle Busch truck, Skinner, Justin Marks, Annett, I believe they can get on and off pit road without losing a lap because they're ahead of the competition that far.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to do that, though. Even though they have that lead, I don't think they're going to be able to get on the pit road. We saw Jack Sprague come in for basically to put a hood pin in, and he ended up coming back out. Even though he came at the tail end, he came out about midway back in the pack. So it's going to be very difficult with that pit road speed. And this is a fairly long pit road, obviously, with 43 pit stalls. We only use 36 of them, but there's 43 pit stalls on pit road.
It'll be close.
At 88 of Matt Crafton, currently running in the 6th spot. Adam, how's he doing?
Well, he's doing quite well. A little bit loose in the call for him. And as Ray talked about earlier, we're starting to see that sun get farther and farther behind the grandstand on the main straightaway. So we're seeing almost complete shade on this racetrack. And my question is for you guys, if you're loose in at this stage of the race, how much can that help your race truck as this night continues and this track continues to change?
I don't like the way Todd Bodine explained his truck was behaving. Tight in or loose in and plowing off. A crew chief, he'll scratch his head when you tell him you've got 2 or 3 different things going on. And I don't see the sun going down helping Todd a whole lot.
I don't either. I don't know that would help either situation for Todd. So Mike Hillman Jr. has his work cut off for him. Here's our battle for second right there. Mike Skinner, the 5, has it. Justin Marks, who's having a career run here, right now running 3rd.
Here comes Kyle Busch. He slows down and making his way onto pit road. So Kyle Busch relinquishing the lead to Mike Skinner. And Justin Marks now will move up to the 2nd spot as Kyle Busch makes his way onto pit road.
It's going to be a good gauge here whether you can get back out without losing a lap, Krista.
Well, despite leading this race, Kyle and his team making a pretty big change. Not only wedge and air pressure, you're also going to see a track bar adjustment. 1, 2, 3 rounds on the track bar, 3 rounds down. A major adjustment for the 51.
Mike Skinner now continuing to lead, and he will just put down Kyle Busch a lap, and so Kyle Busch will have to come off of pit road. He's a lap down, but also Mike Skinner and Justin Marks, they also need to come. Oh, we got problems with Chrissy Wallace, and that is a very difficult situation for the 51 of Kyle Busch because now he is caught a lap down.
Again, with the Aaron's Lucky Dog, that's not going to be an issue for Kyle Busch.
It's a worse situation for Chrissy Wallace. That thing's tore up pretty good.
Yeah, right, it really is.
4th caution of the night. This time it's Chrissy Wallace that brings out the yellow flag.
She was really running well. She'd run her fastest lap, you know, back in the 40s, so she was really gaining on it. But unfortunately, it's going to come to a premature end here tonight.
Seeing the left wheel not even turn as she's rolling down the racetrack right now.
Yeah, pretty significant contact.
Window net down. Gloves being thrown off. Steering wheel off of the column. And she will climb out of that truck.
Rick, Michael, that's going to happen in this sport. I mean, she had a couple good races to start out her career here in the Craftsman Truck Series at Martinsville, and then I think she ran Milwaukee, had 2 finishes, and unfortunately this happens. And it happens to the best of them, doesn't it, Mikey?
Well, you saw her racing savvy early in the race. She was mixing it up with those guys and doing a great job. Don't know what happened. We'll see if we can catch a replay.
This one's in progress already as she was up into the wall.
She was racing along there with David Starr.
Yeah, David Starr was right by that truck when we first caught a glimpse of it, so we don't know if there may have been some contact there, or maybe they were just racing hard and maybe lost a little air off the spoiler. Not sure exactly what happened. Maybe Chrissy will be able to shed some light on what may have happened.
You can see the rear of the truck is pointed in the wrong direction. She's hit so hard.
On the last lap, she was wedged in between the 8 of Chad McCumbee and the 10 of Brendan Gaughan. Let's go back trackside to Adam Alexander.
Justin Marks making his first pit stop of the night, and they were sweating it. Lap 55 when they were going to have to come in under green. The truck is great. Slight air pressure adjustment to loosen them up. 4 tires and fuel at lap 53. Craftsman in as well. Krista?
Michael Annette coming in for a 4-tire change. No adjustments for this truck. They are extremely pleased right now. His crew chief, Doug Walcott, guiding him in, saying just be real calm, real smooth. Ray?
Mike Skinner said he's just a little bit tight off of the corner. Joe Lax, his interim crew chief here on the number 5, is going to put air pressure in the right side tires. Skinner was told over the radio that Kyle Busch is now a lap down. Skinner came in as the leader, but by taking 4 tires, he's going to go out 3rd.
So Johnny Benson wins the race off of pit road. Then it's Eric Darnell. Skinner loses a couple spots. Gets out in front of Justin Marks, though, and Todd Bodine.
Only 3 trucks stayed on the racetrack that time, and I don't think any of those trucks were on the lead lap. They're all 1 or more laps down, and that's why they had to stay out. They will be able to pit this time. One of those trucks is Kyle Busch.
So Johnny Benson in that 23 gets out in front of Eric Darnell. The crowd taking a little breather here before we get back underway from Kentucky Speedway.
You know, when I was about 14 years old, I bought my very first Craftsman 7 1/4 inch saw. And as you can see, this one's been through the ringer a little bit. I still use it a lot, but the problem is you're relying on corded technology. And today, that's really not the best option, because Craftsman now has battery-powered saws that'll last forever because of the new lithium-ion battery. You'll notice here the power bar. All I've got to do is press that button, and it tells me that I've got full power on this lithium-ion battery, and it's going to be able to get the job done and work all day. Now, there's a couple neat features about this. Number 1, I can turn on the LED work light, which will light up my surface area. But number 2, when I flip this switch, you'll notice a laser line comes out. Now, that is a perfect guide for me to make my cut. You see, I want to make a cut right here. I line my laser up right there, get it right on the mark, start cutting away. Perfect cut every time, no doubt about it. This thing will work all day long on 1 charge, super duper power, and portability. That's the key.
Welcome back to Kentucky Speedway. Chrissy Wallace in the 03 having problems in turn 3 and 4. She is out of this race. The truck is on the rollback, and now the track is going to work on, or the track operator here is, or they're going to work on the wall. There is a hole actually in the wall where Chrissy Wallace hit the wall, and so it's going to take them a couple minutes to fix that.
There's a shot right there. You see the 11 of David Starr. Don't know if there was any contact that precipitated this, but Chrissy made some pretty hard contact with the outside wall.
You'd have to think that something went on there, because David Starr and her were both well up the track when we saw the shot. You know, David would have liked to have been over to the left more, as would have Chrissy, excuse me. So you got to think maybe something went down there.
There's the 51 right there, Kyle Busch. Remember, we documented that he made a green flag pit stop. He was the first one of those trucks that came down pit road. And great news for him, when the caution came out for Chrissy Wallace's accident right after his pit stop, guess who gets the lucky dog?
Kyle Busch?
Kyle Busch.
I don't even know for sure if he needed it or not. He could have probably got that back on his own.
Chris Devoda.
Well, the bad luck just continues for Jack Sprague. They took advantage of the caution to come in and make the carburetor change. You'll remember earlier in the race, Jack said he thought that was where the problem. They really haven't had full motor power for this entire race. They came back down to make a 4-tire change, but they think they're going to have to change all of the plug wires just a few at a time. They do not know which cylinder it is. So there's going to be a major change coming probably as they check that carburetor for Jack Sprague. Ray?
Chris, I was listening to the radio. I was not able to see the replay on the accident for Chrissy Wallace, but she said on the radio that Jack Sprague had something to do with that he took the air off of her spoiler, and that's what caused that accident. So we'll see if we get another replay to take a look at that. But you see that Geico Toyota Tundra sitting on the rollback, and it's got a great deal of damage on that truck, as well as the wall over there that they'll continue to work on. But Chrissy's saying that it was an aerodynamic issue involved with her and Jack Sprague.
So an unfortunate night for Chrissy Wallace. Obviously, in the truck series, we talk about it numerous times, the truck on the inside, when they're going through the corners, that air gets taken off of that spoiler, and it just makes these trucks extremely loose.
Yeah, it sure does. Hopefully her dad, Mike, will have a better night tonight in the nationwide race. But Chrissy was doing a terrific job. She had just run her fastest lap of the race just a few laps before her incident.
And so we've got a red flag condition from Kentucky Speedway as the sun begins to set. That means the stars are about to come out. The glamour of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in front of the crowd here at Kentucky Speedway. More exciting racing to come from Kentucky next. A lot's happening in the racing world this week, and Dave Despain and his guests are all fired up and waiting for your calls and emails about all the action on and off the track. Be a part of Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain live tomorrow at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, only on Speed. David Reagan will be the guest, as well as David Hobbs, talking a little F1 for Dave Despain. And again, the trucks are in a holding pattern in turn number 2 as the red flag has come out as they continue to fix the wall. Let's go trackside to Adam Alexander.
And Chrissy Wallace has made her way from the infield care center, and that good news. Obviously, you're okay. Tell us what happened on track, Chrissy.
Oh, we're good. You know, we were battling with Jack Sprague for multiple laps, and every time we'd get inside of him, whether it was down in 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, he kept pinching us off constantly, and finally that time he got the better of us.
So some frustrations on the track tonight, and we see the replay here, and obviously this is the aftermath. Can't really tell much.
Right at that point there, you really can't tell too much, but you know, unfortunately for Geico and Jermaine and Toyota, we were running really good, but we got taken out by somebody that wasn't running the best.
So Chrissy continues to get seat time. Unfortunately, not enough here tonight, and she just hopes that Father Mike will do better in the nationwide car over in St. Louis later this evening, guys.
I think this video here can confirm that she and Jack were struggling with each other. Watch on the back straightaway. Chrissy gets right up next to Jack, crowds him over a little bit on the back straightaway. This is a lap before the crash actually happened. Now, when they get down in the corner, we don't know what happens from there, other than to say, my experience tells me that Chrissy was saying, "Move over, Jack, I need some help," and Jack was saying, "Don't be crowding me." That's what that looked like.
And we know how frustrating that is. Chrissy talked about running a number of laps side by side with Jack. We know Jack has had a carburetor issue or something, so his truck wasn't up to full song, right, so to speak. So we know how frustrating it is to try to get by somebody when you feel like you're faster, and unfortunately for Chrissy, it ended her night.
You know, I've raced a long time, and you see all kinds of stuff go on the racetrack, and that just looked like a little bit of an argument that was taking place, and it wound up with her being in the wall. Not assessing blame to Jack or her, either one. I don't know the details of how it all went down, but you could tell exactly what she said. They were crowding on each other.
And while we're under red flag condition, let's put your brains to the test here as we want to take a look at our Aaron's Lucky Guess Trivia question for the evening. 8 of Todd Bodine's 13 Truck Series wins have come on mile-and-a-half racetracks. Now, he has won on 5 of the 7 mile-and-a-half racetracks that we run at. Name the 2 tracks where he has not won. And while you're thinking about that, maybe Run to the freezer, grab yourself an ice cream, sit back, relax. We're going to have green flag racing when we come back.
Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Just for Men. Stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. By Aaron Sales and Lease Ownership. Nobody beats Aaron's, nobody. And by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears.
Well, and as Ray Dunlap had asked for a replay to see if we could find one, sure enough, we did find a replay of what took place getting Chrissy Wallace turned around. And this actually justifies what she was talking about with her and Jack.
See, that's Chrissy on the inside of Jack Sprague, and they were fighting for position there. We've seen some trucks run side by side with a gap in between. That time it looked like they were very, very close, and we see it so often that the truck on the inside loses the air off that spoiler. Chrissy told us that she'd been running side by side with Jack for a number of laps, and that time she got down into 3 and lost some spoiler, lost some air off that spoiler, and around she went, and there's the repairs done to the safer barrier. So we're under yellow. The red flag has been pulled back in, and we're under yellow, and we will be restarting this race momentarily.
Chris, I believe you caught up with Trip Bruce.
That's right, crew chief for our current leader, Johnny Benson. When you guys came in, Johnny talked about a wheel possibly being loose, a little bit of a vibration. Is that indeed what you guys found on that stop?
It did appear to be a little bit loose. It wasn't much, but Johnny's pretty good at noticing those fine details, you know. And he said he thought when he weaved it back and forth it was loose. So he was pretty positive, so we just came in and put on 4. It would have put us out of sequence there on that green flag stop, and that would have helped us in the long run. But caution came out, and we just did right sides of the fuel and put it back up front. So really hasn't been a lot of racing so far. It just seems early in the race, and you know, a lot of stuff happened already. I'd like to see it just settle down and get a little further into the race before we have so much action. But Toyota Certified Used Vehicles Tundra has been pretty good in practice and appears to be just as good now, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, Trip Bruce wants to see some racing. Ray Dunlap, what about things on your end of pit road?
Well, I'm all the way down at the end of the pit road here, and Joe Lax is on the top of the box for Mike Skinner. And Joe, looks like you guys have a really good truck tonight. What's Mike telling you?
Yeah, the Bill Davis Racing Toyota Tundra is running really good tonight. We're really neutral, so the truck's turning really well. There at the end of the fuel run, we just started to get a little bit tight under throttle, but that's expected. So I made a little bit of an adjustment there, and as the sun goes down here, we'll see what we got here for this next run.
How do you think that'll change the racetrack?
I expect the track to get a little bit tighter, but mostly the characteristic is that you know, whatever condition you have, whether it be loose or tight, it just gets worse. So.
Okay. All right, thank you, Joe.
We've heard from a few of the crew chiefs. We'll give the answer to the Aaron's Lucky Guest trivia question when we come back to Kentucky Speedway. Welcome back to Sparta, Kentucky. About to go back to green flag racing. We want to take a look at the answer of the Aaron's Lucky Guest trivia question. Again, which 2 tracks has Todd Bodine not won on that we currently run in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series?
It's a 1.5 track.
1.5 tracks. Michael?
There's 7 1.5 tracks. I know that.
Which 2?
And I can name 5 of them.
Can you name the 2? It's on the screen, Michael. I was going to give you a clue,
Is that where
but then I thought you might want to just look at the screen.
Is that where y'all keep the answers at?
It's Kentucky. Obviously, we gave you a hint because we're here. And Lowe's Motor Speedway, the only 2 that the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racetracks, the 1.5 tracks that Todd Bodine has not won on of the 7 that we race at.
And he has won a nationwide race here, though, at Kentucky
correct.
Speedway.
And I think he won it backwards.
He did, certainly sideways. I think he spun across the start-finish line to get the win.
Rolling along in the 5th position here on this restart. Early in the race from Kentucky Speedway, Todd Bodine is certainly in position to mark another track off his list.
Right now, he'll have to contend with a few different Toyota Tundras that are in front of him, one of those being Johnny Benson, and now Mike Skinner making the attempt to try to get by that 99. Take a look at this 51 of Kyle Busch. He's going to try to make his way from way back in the field, restarting in 26th.
Remember, he got the Aaron's Lucky Dog, so he had to restart from the tail end of the longest line, which would be the lead lap line because there's so many trucks right now on the lead lap.
His teammates just in front of him, that number 15 is Mark Mitchell. This is 5th and 6th, Todd Bodine, and the 88 of Matt Crafton.
All we've seen Matt Crafton do since they threw the green flag at the start is pass guys. He's down on the inside of Todd. pretty tough row to hold down there on the bottom, getting around a guy like Todd Bodine.
Todd is not a guy that really wants to give up this spot, but he does know we're early in the race here. We've got 150 laps to run, and we're only on lap number 61, so no sense ending up in the garage prematurely.
Riding along in that Lumber Liquidators on board with Todd Bodine as he was looking forward at the 88. Take a look at this 99 of Eric Darnell. Looking at the back bumper of the 5 of Mike Skinner. Ray, are they talking about a good truck?
Yeah, they're up to third position there, Rick, but they've already pitted 3 times tonight. On the last round there at lap 53, they came in running 10th and went out second. The reason why, they only made a track bar adjustment, no tire change that time. They had put tires on lap 22, so they opted for track position. That put them up to third.
Guess what, Ray? It's working for him, because a lap before this, he had the fastest lap that he has run this entire race. So this last lap, Matt Craftsman ran his fastest lap of the race.
That speaks highly of these tires. You know, these guys can put on new tires and run fast laps. They can keep on the old ones and run fast laps. Goodyear's bought an excellent tire here, and that's why you see such great racing action.
Now we're seeing Skinner running that second line through the turns. Johnny Benson was hugging the white line through 3 and 4. We'll see if they run similar lines through 1 and 2. Johnny Benson may go low once again. Here's some more side-by-side racing back behind him.
Yeah, there's Stacy Compton, the Ford truck, the Dodge out of BHR stable. There's Colin Brown, the Conway Ford. David Starr, that 11 Red Horse Racing, thinking about making it in the middle there. Might do it.
Decides to give Stacy a push instead.
Yeah. Colin Brown pulls right out in front of Chad McCumbee and realizes he did that, and then moves over to the inside to give Chad a little bit of room.
Chad McCumbee's been very good on the mile-and-a-half racetracks this season. Todd Bodine trying to hold off that 33 of Ron Hornaday, as Hornaday trying to get back up into the top 5. Currently Bodine running 6th, Hornaday running 7th.
Oh, 16 of Brian Scott looked like he may have lost an engine through 3 and 4 that time, has made his way to pit road. Remember, that was a backup truck. He is going to make the hard left-hand turn into the garage areas. We have a great battle right now between Todd Bodine and Ron Hornaday.
Hornaday able to get by him, and now look at Kyle Busch. He's trying to make that pass on the 7 of TJ Bell, and he will succeed.
That's a battle for the 16th position right there, 17th position, I should say. Kyle all the way from the back of the pack up to 17th here in just a couple, 3 laps.
Kyle Busch always exciting, no matter what series he's running in. And he was caught on pit road. He came in early, and then Chrissy Wallace got into the wall, brought out a caution, put him a lap down, but he was the first one, scored a lap down, so he got the Aaron's lucky dog and was back on the lead lap. Chris Devoda.
Well, Rick, Phil, Michael, just to update what's going on with the leader, Johnny Benson, as he continues to try to hold off his teammate, Mike Skinner. They pitted back on 53. We heard from Trip Bruce about the loose wheel that happened earlier in the race. Back on lap 53, they pitted and took right side tires only. That's how they made up the track position, Ray?
It sounds like a loose right front wheel for Todd Bodine. He said he had a terrible bad vibration. Going to have to pit coming in. Loose lug nuts on the right front for the Lumber Liquidators Toyota.
Very unfortunate for this team as they have to make an unscheduled pit stop.
Remember now, this is not the end of the race for Todd Bodine. We saw Kyle Busch make a green flag pit stop and meet within 2 laps. Scott is Aaron's lucky dog. So Todd Bodine right now will be looking for that, but it's going to take probably 2 cautions for Todd Bodine to get that Aaron's lucky dog because he has to get in position first to get one. He may do it right now. Right now we're only showing 1 truck 1 lap down, and that's Justin Allgaier. So it depends on when Todd comes back out on the racetrack relative to where Justin is.
Michael Annett just in front of Ted Musgrave. That's 7th and 8th on the racetrack.
And those two have the whole field, it seems, lined up directly behind them. So a lot of trucks. Kyle Busch is in the middle of this battle, 7th, 8th, and then all the way back through to the top 20 are all on the same straightaway.
And remember, Ted Musgrave had to come back down on pit road because he had equipment still on his truck and was taken off of pit road with that, or out of his pit stall. So difficulties for that 59 team early on, but they're battling back from it, Adam.
Yeah, that was at lap 22 when they came in for 4 tires. And Rick, you said it, they were penalized, had to drop to the tail end of the longest line, restarted 34th. They got 4 tires and fuel at lap 53. The truck handling quite well, and he has rallied up to the 8th position. He's got an average finish of 8th, oddly enough, at this racetrack, and right now he's racing for the 7th position with Michael Annette. Ray?
Taking a look at the right front wheel that came off of that truck at Todd Bodine's, it does not look elongated like you would normally see with loose lug nuts. I looked that wheel over and everything looked just fine, so they're a bit puzzled down here about what the problem might have been. They checked the air pressure in it and it wasn't going flat either, so they're going to certainly monitor Todd's progress here as he gets back on the racetrack and see what the problem might have been.
Ray, the good news right now for Todd Bodine is he is the first truck not scored on the lead lap, so if the caution flag were to come out as we watch Kyle Busch wiggle a little bit behind Brendan Gaughan as he tries to make his way back towards the top 10. You know, Ted Musgrave, we were talking about just a few moments ago, told me right before the race, they went to Darlington for a test last week, and he said they learned a tremendous amount. The trucks really haven't been handling as well as they should have. He said we changed absolutely everything, and now we feel like we have a package that will work anywhere.
Ted Musgrave trying to get back up to his winning ways that we've seen before out of that driver. You know, that Todd Bodine situation where he came on pit road feeling like he had maybe a loose lug nut or something reminiscent of last year's last race when Mike Skinner came onto pit road and thought, well, I've got maybe a loose wheel or something. Sure enough, later on, the wheel actually came off of that truck.
Yeah, they actually changed the other side tires and end up losing a left side tire. They changed rights and certainly contributed to him not winning that championship.
Just to show you how tough this truck series is all the way throughout the field. We saw Kyle Busch driving away, leading the race. Right now, he's battling for the 13th spot, and he's not making much ground. Tough going back there.
Been racing with Brendan Gaughan. Caution flag on the racetrack, Rick.
Once again, the caution comes out. This is the 5th caution of the night. This one, it's for debris on the racetrack. So Johnny Vincent will slow the field down as he's out in front of Skinner, Darnell, Marks, and Crafton.
Great news for Todd Bodine. He is the highest placed non-lead lap truck, which means he will get the Aaron's lucky dog and get back in contention. And there's the reason for the caution flag.
That debris on the racetrack. I bet Todd Bodine was screaming. There is debris all over the racetrack.
Was that a donut on the racetrack?
It could have been. Cookie, donut.
A donut without a hose of Danish.
Oh, what a quote. So Todd Bodine, your Aaron's lucky dog recipient. He will get his lap back and be on the lead lap. That makes it 28 trucks on the lead lap. Coming up on the halfway point of this race here, the Built Ford Tough 225 from Kentucky Speedway. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Built Ford Tough 225 from Sparta, Kentucky and the Kentucky Speedway. This extremely fast mile-and-a-half racetrack, the site of race number 13 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And we're under caution number 5. This time it was for debris. You see that 30 of Todd Bodine rocketing around the rest of the field. That means he is the recipient of the Aaron's lucky dog, so he will be back on the lead lap. He will tack on to the tail end of that longest line of lead lap trucks. He will be in the 28th position. Let's go back to pit road and Chris Devoto.
Well, under this caution, Kyle Busch brought his truck in. He thought he had a tire going down, but there was no problem. In fact, Richie Waters, his crew chief, got on the radio and said, I think it's just a bad set of tires. This was the same set, a scuff set, that he used in a mock run yesterday in practice. So it was just a bad set of tires. It gave Kyle a bad feeling while he was out on the racetrack.
And Krista, I think that's the exact same thing that Todd Bodine was facing. We looked that wheel over. It was definitely not loose lug nuts, but Todd had said he had a bad vibration in the right front. So they got that set of tires off there, changed tires. And as you guys said, he will get the Aaron's lucky dog, be back on the lead lap. So maybe things not so bad for the 30, but they were wanting to make sure that we told everybody it was not a problem with the pit crew. They did their job. Just some reason they had a vibration in that right front.
Todd's coming back down pit road right now. See if they can analyze maybe where that vibration came from.
Makes me think that maybe that vibration hasn't gone away and he's still dealing with it, and they're trying to understand exactly what's going on.
We were just taking a look at the press box, and that's actually where the officials, the NASCAR officials, will be up there, and they call the race. And what NASCAR Confidential is going to bring you on Speed is a never-before-seen look at what takes place behind the scenes, and that's 8 o'clock on Speed Sunday night. NASCAR Confidential, that's the second part of a two-part series that really takes an in-depth look at what these guys do behind the scenes to put on an event.
If you've ever gone up to the control tower and watched Mike Helton, David Hoots, and those guys call a race and run a race, you'd be amazed. You'd be really wise to think about your comments you make post-race if you didn't like a call, because it isn't just done arbitrarily.
Right.
They study it. It's very well officiated, and it's very intense what goes on in the control tower.
Yeah, there's a lot of technology that also goes into it. They've got video equipment that they're able to take a look at replays of accidents, and obviously they've got a lot of technology that puts you all back in the right place. And has Mike Helton ever talked to you, Mikey, during a race?
You usually get invited to come up and watch the process if you don't think you like what you saw.
Yeah.
Mike's a little tough on you when you're wrong. He appreciates your opinion when you're right, and he'll straighten you out when you're wrong.
Green flag back in the air. We're back underway from Kentucky Speedway. Johnny Benson again out in front of the field.
Have they finally got that two-truck fix, Phil? He sure did get a good start there.
Yeah, let's watch on the bottom when he goes down the backstretch here. I've been invited to the NASCAR truck a few times. Most of the time, it's not really that much fun to be invited to it. Sometimes it is.
Jack Sprague scored 2 laps down to Johnny Benson, Mike Skinner, Eric Darnell, Justin Marks.
There's Eric Darnell right there. He runs in the 3rd spot. Mike Skinner, the 5 truck right in front of him. That's our Ford onboard right there.
The 2's still broken, I think. Krista, he's not running up to speed, it doesn't appear.
No, Michael, they think they're still at actually 7 cylinders, but hey, actually that's an improvement because they were down to 6. They've been changing the plug wires. They're up 1, but they're still down 7 cylinders on the racetrack.
Yeah. Jack has to realize, though, when his truck is not running, there's people out there that are running better than him, and you're going to have to, watch what you're doing, because he just drove up in front of the 11 of David Starr that time.
Kyle Busch making his way back to the front. He hadn't made any good progress like we documented, Rick, under that last green flag run. He came in, got him some fresh tires, maybe a little bit of adjustment. He's going to go back at him again.
See right behind him that 81 truck, Michael. That's Randy Moss's truck. That's Willie Allen, our Rookie of the Year from last season. Randy was such a big part of our setup show with Chris Devoda, and we certainly appreciate him coming on board. And great to have Randy Moss in the Truck Series as a partner with David Dollar and Morgan Dollar Motorsports.
Willie Allen currently running in the 18th spot. He's dropped back a bit, but started 20th, so kind of working right around that 18th, 19th, 20th position on the track.
Which is solid. You want to just find yourself in that top 20 and be able to.
We got some slow truck on the race. That's actually Ron Hornaday that has slowed. His teammate went by him, and here comes David Starr looking to go by him as well. Something must be wrong with this 33.
Yeah, something obviously wrong. Looks like Ron's going to make his way to pit road.
Slowing down very quickly as he makes the hard left turn onto pit road. Your point leader, Ron Hornaday, now on pit road, an unscheduled stop for this team.
Right side tires are up on that thing, Mikey.
He faded off turn 2 over there, so you wouldn't have. Krista, what are they saying?
Rick ran on the radio saying, guys, we cannot take a chance. We have to take 4 tires. Alert, though, for a loose tire for the 33 as they came in. Rick run up on, they're going to make air pressure adjustment also, but it's 4 tire change for 33.
Well, it's amazing how many trucks have had trouble and had to rely on the Aaron's Lucky Dog. Kyle Busch for one, Topo and I for another one. Jack Sprague, and obviously it's not going to work out for him, I don't think, but Ron Hornaday is going to be another guy that's going to have to rely on an Aaron's Lucky Dog.
And they're fortunate. There's been a lot of cautions. There's a lot of trucks on the lead lap. Right now, there'll only be one other truck other than Hornaday. That is one down, and that's Justin Allgaier. So if Hornaday can catch him before Johnny Benson catches the back of the field and starts lapping other trucks, he'll be our next Aaron's Lucky Dog.
Take a look at what happens in the points when you have one little bobble.
Remember, Johnny Benson was leading and had a tough race at Memphis and dropped all the way to 4th position. And now here he is with a great run going. He jumps back up in the lead if the race were to end right now. And fortunately for a lot of these guys, the race is not going to end right now.
These two guys have been battling quite intensely over the last 10 or 15 laps. Michael Annett and Ted Musgrave. Ted seems to be a little bit faster than Michael, but he can't get the position on him.
Michael Annett in that 22, Musgrave in the 59. Chris Devoto, what's the word now for the 33 team?
Well, Ron Hornaday was exactly right. It was indeed a loose wheel. The left rear, not much, but the lug opening just loose a little bit. It was just enough to cause that vibration and to cause concern for Ron Hornaday.
Guys, I'm watching that 2 truck of Jack Sprague. Remember, we thought that he was not back up to speed. He pulled up in front of David Starr. Well, he's been able to stay in front of David Starr. I think that truck is running right now down the straightaway, Michael.
He's just so good in the corners, Phil. Even if he is a little bit off on the straightaway, he's able to make such good time through the turns. He uses that momentum to propel him down the straightaway.
Speaking of momentum, that number 5 of Mike Skinner is using the outside line to keep his momentum up, trying to reel in his teammate.
Watch
Johnny
that 2
Benson.
down the straightaway now, Rick and Michael. See, he's staying right with that 59 of Ted Musgrave. Actually looking to the inside.
Not only staying with him, says he's going to pass him.
Ted Musgrave closed the door, and now we see slowing on the bottom of the racetrack that 7 of TJ Bell. But they're side by side racing here. Jack Sprague and Ted Musgrave looking for position. 3 wide now as David Starr goes to the outside.
Remember, Jack is 2 laps down now. More than likely not in position to get an Aaron's Lucky Dog anytime soon. David Starr able to make the pass, though.
I don't know. I think it's 6.5 or 7.5 cylinders. I still think it's not running exactly right.
So Jack Sprague almost doing the block on Ted Musgrave as David Starr was able to take a position away from him. Johnny Benson, clean air in front of that truck here in Kentucky. Built Ford Tough 225, just completing lap number 92. It's still Johnny Benson out in front. Eric Darnell, Justin Marks racing for position. Justin Marks trying to hold on to 3rd. Eric Darnell trying to take it away.
You know, you think this racetrack isn't getting faster as the temperature drops. 14 trucks have run their fastest lap of the race within the last 10 laps.
Speed starting to pick up as it will start heating up. As we're completing lap 93 of 150. Everyone will have to make their way back onto pit road at least one more time before the end of this race.
Great battle for 3rd right here. Justin Marks, the 9 on the inside. Remember, he's a teammate to Todd Bodine and Chrissy Wallace. Eric Darnell on the outside. Colin Brown's teammate. John West Townley also out of the Roush Fenway stables.
They continue side by side around this racetrack. Justin Marks on the bottom. Eric Darnell with our Ford on board giving us a shot of running the high line.
They're giving each other a lot of room too, Phil. That's how you coexist when you're trying to race side by side. You don't want to crowd up into a guy, and you hope he won't pinch you down when you get to the corner.
We've got 55 laps to go. We know that all these guys are going to have to make another pit stop, so there's really no sense, you know, fighting over 3rd right now with this much time left.
A 10 of Brendan Gaughan really on the move, and amazingly enough on the high side of the racetrack. We're seeing Dennis Setzer up there too.
Yeah, Brendan just drove around the outside of Chad McCumbee to climb up to the 9th spot. Dennis Setzer, a solid qualifying effort and a solid run tonight.
You know, as good as Kyle Busch was at the beginning of this race, it seems like he has plateaued right around 10th now.
He's actually dropped a couple spots. He was racing with Brendan Gaughan a few moments ago. Brendan has moved up to the 9th spot. Kyle's back to the 12th spot. Mark it down right now. If the caution flag were to come out, Ron Hornaday would be the Aaron's Lucky Dog. So Rick Wren, Ron Hornaday, and those guys are saying, please give us a caution flag for debris.
Yeah, because it's not going to be too many more laps, Phil, till Johnny Benson catches the back of the field. You've got Timothy Peters, John West Townley that are close to 30 seconds behind. And so it only takes 33 seconds to make a lap, obviously. So they're about to get lapped. And that'll mess up Hornaday's whole gig.
Sure will. David Starr takes over the 6th position from Michael Annette. Good run for the Red Horse Racing Toyota.
Adam Alexander.
And I'll tell you a guy that really has made progress as this race has continued. The truck that guy owns, Randy Moss's Willie Allen, the 81. He started out the night 20th, dropped to 29th. They were really, really loose, but they've come around making a number of adjustments, perhaps inspired by their new leader. And, you know, it's been very interesting as you watch Willie on track and watch the owner in the pit area to watch Randy interact here at the racetrack. He seems very relaxed and comfortable in his new surroundings. And while I know training camp is coming up, and once he gets busy with the NFL season, we won't see much of him, but this sport's so infectious. I think when 09 rolls around, he will be very much in the middle of things once he puts this football season behind him, Ray.
I'll tell you what, Adam, I'm very impressed with David Starr tonight. He started 17th in this field all the way up to 6th right now, and they've got a brand new race truck. It's chassis number 110, and David told me they learned a lot at Darlington testing this Red Horse Racing truck. He said he felt like they can apply that to the next 4 or 5 races, the things they worked on there at Darlington. Good run for Starr, going 17th to 6th in the running order.
David Starr trying to break into that top 5. Right now it's Johnny Benson, Mike Skinner, Eric Darnell, Justin Marks, and Matt Crafton, your top 5. Ron Hornaday still a lap down, your point leader coming into this race. That's going to get shaken up tonight. Welcome back to Kentucky Speedway here in Sparta, Kentucky. Johnny Benson now putting a few more trucks a lap down, and that is bad news for Ron Hornaday.
Ron Hornaday right now is almost 2 laps down. He's just within a straightaway of being in front of the 23 of Ron Hornaday. You can see as of 104 of 150 laps, JB our leader.
Been 5 lead changes between 3 different drivers. Our average speed slowed to 120 miles an hour. Obviously, we have had some cautions and a red flag, actually, to fix the safer barrier. Right now, a battle for 16th. 60 of Terry Cook getting by that 4 of Stacy Compton.
See the Toyota on board of Terry Cook. Terry's up in the top 10 in points. He was 9th coming into this race. Grabs a spot from Stacy Compton. That's 3 more points for Terry Cook.
Stacy Compton's been running right around the 15th to 20th position all night long. Dennis Setzer's been able to fight his way up into the top 10. Those are our 2 strongest running Dodges.
And again, the situation, the way this race started, it was Mike Skinner and Kyle Busch that were up front when we started. Kyle Busch came onto pit road, was caught on pit road when a caution came out, so he went a lap down. He was very strong early on, but now it's been Johnny Benson who has taken over the strongest truck on the track criteria.
And, you know, if you look at the times these guys are running, Rick, Johnny Benson is lap after lap the fastest truck. But the second fastest truck is not this guy running in second, Mike Skinner, who's having a great night, but all the way back and forth, Justin Marks. He's able to match or beat Johnny Benson's times about every lap. This is our third place guy, Eric Darnell.
Yeah, what a great finish we had at Michigan. Eric won that race in front of Jack Roush and all the members of Ford there from nearby Dearborn. There's Justin Marks. I'm telling you, a great battle right here. Justin Marks running 4th. Matt Crafton trying to take over that 4th spot. Matt got his first win at Charlotte a couple months ago, and Justin Marks is having a career race here tonight, now in the 5th spot.
And just as I say about Justin Marks, he slides up the hill. Matt Crafton goes flying by. He's had a great truck. I think he's been passing somebody every time we've looked up. He's got a really fast truck.
Back behind them, the 11 of David Starr, as we're taking a look at Justin Marks. It looks
maybe that's what happened to Justin.
Is that Romeo window?
Looks like a Romeo window. NASCAR officials will be looking at this very, very closely. More than likely, that will bring him into pit road for him to be able to take that off. And Adam, what are they saying down there on pit road?
Well, just wanted to confirm that you're exactly right, Phil. In fact, the crew starting to get ready for a pit stop. They would have likely been down pit road under green in the next 10 laps or so anyway, but they are making preparations to come down. Jason Overstreet, in an effort to keep his driver calm. Of course, Jason, being the crew chief for Justin Marks, said, stay where you are. We're going to get a caution soon anyway.
Yeah, they will be watching the flag stand to see if NASCAR will put the black flag out to bring him to pit road. You see how good he was running, and now with that Romeo window flipping around there, he's lost a lot of ground to Matt Crafton.
Yeah, and it happened that quickly, and I didn't understand exactly how he could have gone to pieces in such a hurry, but evidently the arrow on the side of that truck is being messed up by that window falling loose.
Yeah, they rely on that Romeo window for downforce, and obviously right now Justin Marks does not have the downforce he had. You talked about how fast he was running relative to Johnny Benson. That last lap, he was 1 second slower than Johnny Benson.
And he had been matching his times. And another guy that's having a great night It seems like sometimes trucks just get stuck together. The 22 and the 59 have shadowed each other the whole race. Michael Annett extremely steady and strong up in the 7th spot.
Remember, I told you Ted Musgrave had a test a week or so ago at Darlington. Felt like they really fixed their trucks. He said we had a couple good trucks early this season, then it got away from us. He said that test at Darlington showed us what we needed to do. We changed some suspension points, some geometry. We really feel like we have a truck now that will run on these types of racetracks.
Here comes Kyle Busch. Kyle has broken back into the top 10. He's running 9th now as Brendan Gaughan has dropped back. He was up into that 9th spot. Kyle Busch now moving back toward the front again. We are going to see all these trucks make their way back onto pit road for one more stop. And now the caution has come out. It's for debris. Could that be that Romeo window?
I think it absolutely could be that Romeo.
No,
it's still there. So great break for Justin Marks, and really a good break for everybody. Everyone's going to have to come down pit road. Ron Hornaday needed this caution flag. He's not going to get the Aaron's Lucky Dog, but he needed 2 caution flags to get an Aaron's Lucky Dog. After this restart, he will be in position possibly to get an Aaron's Lucky Dog to try to get back in contention. But he's going to lose so much track position if that happens that he is not a contender to win this race.
It's too late. You know, we saw guys giving away positions early in the race, tire problems, needing to get differing pit strategies. And we said it's okay to give up ground right now, but it's too late. You can't come back from that far behind and win the race this stage.
How about an aggressive 2-tire stop on pit road with just 36 laps to go? Would you do something like that?
I think if I'm running 10th or 12th, I might think about it.
I wouldn't do that if I'm Johnny Benson or Mike Skinner. Those
How about
guys
Kyle
up
Busch?
front.
The guy's not running for points as far as individual drivers' points. He is running for an owner's championship.
I don't think he likes his truck. I don't think it's handling right. He can't seem to make any progress. So he would rather have 4 tires and some adjustments to hopefully get that thing up under him. He has the confidence to think that if he's running 8th or 9th and he gets his truck right, he can go up there and win the race.
Right.
If he gets 2 tires, it might compromise his ability to adjust on that thing. But if you're Ted Musgrave or Dennis Setzer, I think 2 tires is a darn good call.
Maybe Tom Bodine right now running 12th.
Yeah, I think that's a great call.
We'll see what kind of pit strategy takes place as the field has slowed once again. This is the 6th time of this race, and again it's for debris. This one coming out with just, again, 36 laps remaining in this race, and the field now making the hard left turn and going on to pit road. Adam Alexander.
And Justin Marks, the first truck in pit in. We talked about the adversity they faced under green, that loose Romeo window. They will have to work on that. 4 tires and fuel for him. Also coming down pit road, Matt Crafton. He too will get 4 tires at lap 115, and this will be his final stop of the night. Bud Hagley urging the crew a good pit stop for track position. Krista?
Adam, Johnny B. Good has been the lead horse in this race. A 4-tire change, also a freer set of tires. Johnny said he needs his truck just a little bit more free. Ray.
Round a wedge in the right rear for Mike Skinner. 4 tires, 1 pound up on the right front, trying to help him roll through the center. This will be a 4-tire stop. Skinner is definitely not going to be the first one off pit road. He came in 2nd, and he will go out 5th.
We saw the guys that did the two-tire stops. That's Michael Annett will lead this race off pit road. Dennis Setzer, another one of the guys with 2 tires. Mark Mitchell came in, gained 15 positions. You wonder maybe if he came in and didn't put any tires on.
Rick Crawford coming off of pit road very late. One of the last trucks off of pit road. We'll see, can Johnny Benson battle his way back up front, or will pit strategy work for Michael Annett?
The Ford F-Series has stood by the American worker for 60 years.
It's the truck that helped build this country. And we're proud to build the trucks America still counts on every day.
So to help you get the F-150 or Super Duty you need,
we're standing by you again with employee pricing.
Now you pay what I pay.
Just when America needs it most, our best offer of the year is extended until July 31st. See your Ford dealer or go to FordVehicles.com.
Next week, the trucks go racing under the Friday night lights at O'Reilly Raceway Park. 10 points leader Ron Hornaday continue his winning ways in the Hoosier State. Catch all the action from Indy with the setup at 7:30, only on Speed.
5 o'clock qualifying for that race at ORP. Then the setup with Chris Devoto at 7:30, and at 8 o'clock the green flag for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series as we go back to short track racing at ORP, where the Truck Series had its start Mikey, you'll be back there at ORP.
Yeah, I want to go check out that little ice cream stand we
broadcast from.
That we,
right next to the pizza shack.
Where they put us up in that corner.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
We're hearing 2 tires stop for Michael Annette.
Now, you remember what happened at Dover?
I do remember, and a very similar situation because it's the same truck.
The crew chief made a gamble.
Doug Walcott put Scott Speed out front, and that clear air worked for him.
And he was gone. Be interesting to see if Michael Annette can pull off make the same strategy work.
32 laps remain in this race when they come back by the start-finish line. It will be Michael Annette leading Dennis Setzer, Johnny Benson, Mark Mitchell, and Mike Skinner to the green flag. Back out, and here they go. Chad Chaffin with a jump on that restart. He was on the inside line. Michael Annette back to the bottom of the racetrack. Again, Chad Chaffin trying to stay out front to get a lap back, and they're 2 and 3 wide behind him.
Yeah, Ron Hornaday is trying to make his way up towards that front right now. Chad Chaffin is in line for the lucky dog. Ron Hornaday's trying to get there.
Look at this battle for the lead. They were 4
Johnny
wide.
Benson goes right by Michael Annette, takes that top spot. And we've got problems with Chad McCumbee. He gets into the wall. That brings out a caution, as well as the 9 of Justin Marks.
And I think Chad Chaffin, that 40, was ahead of Ron Hornaday when the caution came out. So that will keep Ron Hornaday 1 lap down, put Chad Chaffin back on the lead lap.
Look at the debris and the carnage of these 2 trucks.
Man, what a great night Justin Marks was having.
Had a great night going.
Running right up front.
We're getting a report that Kyle Busch in the 51 may have a tire going down. See a little bit of damage to the right front corner of that Mikasuki Toyota.
They'll have to come work on that.
Phil. Looks the right rear tire down. His right rear is down for sure.
Oh, that's
we got a little nudge right there from Ted Musgrave, and then it put Kyle up into the 8 of Chad McCumbee. The 99 Eric Darnell had nowhere to go, as well as the 9 of Justin Marks. But we know the 51 right now has a tire going down.
So that 51 of Kyle Busch will have to come back onto pit road.
Check out the job the 6 does. What a great job by Colin Brown. He just drove around that wreck. Didn't panic, didn't lock up his brakes, just avoided it. Watch him go by right there.
And it's not easy to, hard contact right there. It's not easy to turn that thing left and miss those guys because you're running as fast as you can at that very moment.
Riding along with Eric Darnell and his Ford onboard.
Eric did all he could do. He couldn't turn left any harder and still got a piece of the action.
And there was somebody on the underside of him, I believe, so didn't really have that access road.
Take another look at what happened.
There's 4 wide right there. Kyle Busch, the 51, gets by. Here comes Ted Musgrave with a run. He's going to get down in turn number 3 and is going to nudge that 51 of Kyle Busch when we get down there.
I guess Kyle maybe let off a tad earlier than Ted thought he was gonna because of the 07 truck, but it didn't look like it looked like Ted just got in way deeper than he should have.
Ray Dunlap.
Guys, there's a lot of damage on this Northern Tool and Equipment Ford down here, and that all got set up a little bit from the last round of pit stops. The right front tire got away from the tire changer, and because of that, Eric Darnell started deep in the field, and that's what put him in that position. They were having such a great run, running 3rd before they pitted that last time, but a great deal of damage here, and we see a little bit of water coming out of the radiator. They may be in a lot worse shape than they think here as they try to get this truck back on the racetrack.
Yeah, Ray, you're right. If the water's coming out there, that's not the overflow, so more than likely something has poked a hole in that radiator there.
The team goes to work on that team. We ride along on the Ford onboard with Eric Darnell. This is coming out of turn 2.
Now these guys right now know they're in a gob. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on. But they certainly didn't know what was fixing to happen.
There's a contact right there. Kyle makes a nice save, but nowhere for Eric to go. Chad bounced off the outside wall right in front of Eric, and then Justin Marks came along as well with nowhere to go. There's another shot of it right there. Remember, this is over in turn 1 and 2. Kyle moves to the inside of the 09 of John West Townley. Makes it 3 wide there. Here comes Ted Musgrave with a good run off of 2. Kyle drives down in the corner. He gets in there pretty hard, and Musgrave still nudges him. See then the contact right there between the 51. Great save by Kyle. The 8 bounces off the outside wall. Eric with nowhere to go hits him, and then Justin Marks also nowhere to go.
Chris Devona.
Well, Kyle Busch is on pit road. You see the crew there working to fix the body damage. They just changed right side tires only because they're more concerned about the body, making sure none of the fenders, none of the body rubs on the tires. So right now that is the concern. You see the crew over on the right side of the truck fixing that damage to the 51. Thumbs up for Kyle Busch. The jack is down, and they say, hey, let's go run.
Taking a closer look at that safer barrier.
That's one of our Craftsman tools of the trade.
You got a grinder out there.
We're getting a report that the 40 of Chad Chaffin that I talked about maybe getting the Aaron's Lucky Dog may have been 2 laps down, so he really wouldn't be in position, and Ron Hornaday will in fact possibly get the Aaron's Lucky Dog and put him back in this race.
Phil, the battle, when the crash happened going into turn 3, you ought to have seen the mess going on for the lead. Johnny Benson made a great move. Check this out off turn 2. Here's Annette trying to get rid of the 40 truck, get around the lap truck. But watch, we're 4 wide down into turn 3. A couple of guys said, I don't like the way this looks. Johnny Benson comes out the other end with the lead and Michael Annette second. But man, that was a heck of a move.
Oh yeah, Dennis Setzer threw the number 18 right up there as well, battling for that lead, but it's Johnny Benson.
How many times is the lead four wide for the lead at Kentucky into turn 3? This track is so raceable, so fun to watch.
It's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. They were 3 wide going into turn 3 at Mansfield. That's a short track, and they were 3 wide for the win. That's why you have to stick around to the very end. 28 laps remaining. This is why we're under caution. Eric Darnell shows us a very close look at what took place.
The Ford F-Series has stood by the American worker for 60 years.
It's the truck that helped build this country. And we're proud to build the trucks America still counts on every day.
So to help you get the F-150 or Super Duty you need,
we're standing by you again with employee pricing.
Now you pay what I pay.
Just when America needs it most, our best offer of the year is extended until July 31st. See your Ford dealer or go to FordVehicles.com.
Green flag just out here at Kentucky Speedway. Johnny Benson holding off the hard-charging Michael Annette. 4 wide when they came out of turn number 2 back in the field.
And guess what? It was Brendan Gaughan up there.
Problems with Todd Bodine and Brendan Gaughan. They were part of the 4 wide. They get the 6 caught up. That's Colin Brown also involved. And now a caution has come out once again. It's the 8th caution of the night.
We saw Brendan on the outside of a 4 wide situation. It may have been a deal where all those other drivers inside of him may not have known that he was out there. A lot of damage to that Conway Ford.
That got ugly coming off turn 2, and it took them all the way to turn 3 to have a crash.
4 wide.
Look at the damage on that Lumber Liquidators truck right there.
That truck is tore up bad.
Yeah, that right front is not supposed to be angled like that.
That would be a lot of camber.
Yeah, it is. That's about 15 degrees.
He'll just make a hard left, I would suppose.
He's going by the garage, actually. So he's going to go down to his pit stall.
He'll have to go behind the wall. What happened?
Ooh, John Wood, the 21, makes a little bit of contact.
I think Todd was trying to go up the hill, and John was in that hole.
John was in that hole, and Colin Brown came along, tried to get between them.
Did you see Kyle Busch slide through there?
Yeah, Rick Crawford also sliding
Ron
through
Hornaday as well.
Yep. We saw Willie Allen way on the bottom of the racetrack avoiding all this.
Incredible job by some of these guys.
Here's another view. See Brendan up there now. Here's Todd. He clears the 09.
He did not know the 21 was in that hole.
Yep, and then when he nudged the 21, that put the 21 into Brendan's left rear quarter panel.
Look at Kyle Busch. You saw the 6 of Colin Brown. He locked up the brakes but couldn't hit the hole. Kyle Busch was just low enough to slide through. A great job.
Right along with Todd Bodine to see what just took place. He's going to think Brendan Gaughan came down on him.
Ooh, there's Colin Brown. He made some contact with Todd. Man. Todd may not have had a great deal of damage till Colin came along with nowhere to go.
Does John get into Brendan or does Todd get into John?
Where's the contact first?
I believe it's right there. I believe Todd goes up, gets a hold of John Wood, and it turns him into Brendan. Watch Kyle Busch.
Ooh. right there. Almost hit that 30 of Todd Bodine. There's Ron Hornaday going by on the inside. Jason White.
Saw Jason White earlier in the race running up in the top 5. Now he's solidly in the top 20. He's having a good night. Todd Bodine, not so much.
Behind the wall, Todd Bodine as they work on that race truck. Ray Dunlap.
They're just talking on the radio about what the damage is here on this Lumber Liquidators Toyota for Todd Bodine. It appears they broke the ball joint out of the right front A-frame, so that's going to be an extensive amount of work. So Mike Hillman Jr. looking at it, just asked Senior whether or not we even need to try to repair that. They're going to assess the damage here, but it's a possibility that Todd Bodine is done for the night.
Yeah, as we just have 20 laps of racing to go, the yellow lights go out on the pace truck, meaning the next time by we will get the green flag. And if we would go green flag racing the rest of this race, it would be 10 minutes and the race is over. So can you fix a ball joint in 10 minutes? Probably not.
No, I don't think that truck's going to leave the garage. It's heavy damage.
Yeah, considerable amount of damage. And he has even more damage than just a ball joint. Right. You see all the damage. He may have radiator issues, oil cooler issues. Just a horrible break for Todd Bodine, and and Brendan Gaughan as well.
Yeah, Colin Brown also getting caught up in all that. Johnny Benson continuing to lead, and with this lead, he's trying to take back over the points lead for the series.
Listen to this top 10. I love some of these names. You got Johnny Benson, Michael Annett, Dennis Setzer in the 3rd spot, Craftsman 4 star, Mark Mitchell in a backup truck, Mike Skinner with a fast truck back in 7th spot, Terry Cook, who was running around on 25th or 26th all night, he's up into the top 10. And John Wood was in that crash, or was part of that crash, but he's able to slide on through it.
Randy Moss's truck driven by Willie Allen in the 12th spot.
Let's keep an eye on that 51 of Kyle Busch. He will restart this race 13th. And remember, Ron Hornaday got the Aaron's Lucky Dog. He will restart this race 15th.
We'll try it again. Let's see if we can get a few more green flag laps, maybe all the way to the checkers. Johnny Benson brings the field to the green flag. Michael Annett is going to give it his all behind him in 2nd. A great restart for Michael Annett. Let's see if he's got anything for Johnny Benson.
Can't figure out anywhere to go, Rick. Drove up on the back of Johnny, but had the lap truck of Chad Chaffindale on the bottom. They'll clear him off of turn 2. They're 4 wide at it again.
Here comes Skinner on the outside of the 15 of Mark Mitchell. He knows that time is running out.
Again, there's some lap down trucks that are on the inside that are mixing it up with these trucks racing for position on the outside.
There's Timothy Peters, the 17. There's John Wood going to move to the inside of him. Stacy Compton, the 4s on the outside. Here comes Kyle Busch on the inside, pushing that 21.
Matt Crafton trying to get by the 18 of Dennis Setzer to take 3rd away. Ted Musgrave also mixing it up in the 59 truck.
The 81 of Willie Allen.
These guys are on it.
Donnie Leah in the 71. He's moving up. The 51 of Kyle Busch trying to get back toward the front.
3 wide every corner, every lap so far since this restart.
See Rick Crawford for a moment on the outside, as well as Ron Hornaday. Here goes Ted Musgrave. Ted right now is being shown in the 10th spot.
17 laps to go. John Wood working to the bottom of the racetrack. Willie Allen goes high. He tries to get by Kyle Busch.
He drives around the outside of Kyle Busch off turn 2. He got all the way around him.
Here comes Rick Crawford right on the back bumper of that 21 of John Wood. And now Kyle Busch racing back with Willie Allen. Those two side by side across the start-finish line.
Great job by Willie Allen for this first race for Randy Moss Motorsports. Rascal Flats on the quarter panel. Battling Kyle Busch right now for the 11th position.
One of the hottest drivers in NASCAR, and Willie Allen staying door to door with him. Again, out in front, a big lead now for Johnny Benson. I say big, it's 4 truck lengths. That could get erased quickly.
He better not bobble. His big lead will be gone. Michael Annett has held pace with him. That last time by, Johnny Benson less than 1/10 of a second faster than Michael Annett. Those 2 trucks were the fastest trucks on the track.
Right, that lap, 7 of the top 10 trucks have run their fastest lap within the last 2 laps of this race.
Chris DeVota.
Michael Annett having a great run. We talked about earlier in the race, his crew chief, Doug Walcott, was saying, just watch what your teammates are doing. He was talking about Mike Skinner. Now, Michael Annett following Johnny Benson. There you see Doug Walcott, a veteran crew chief in the Truck Series. Remember, he already has a win this year. He is the crew chief of the 22 when Scott Speed was driving that truck, winning at Dover. Can Walcott do it again with another young driver? Just the third start this season in the series for Michael Annett. A young man who never even started racing until age 18. Before that, he played hockey, and he did so professionally in the United States Hockey League, the Waterloo Blackhawks, from hockey to horsepower, and he is certainly proving it tonight.
He is, and you can't give enough credit to Doug Walcott.
Oh, no.
He got a victory for Scott Speed by using strategy, and now he's got his man right up in the second spot because he just mixed it up on pit road, did it a little bit different than the rest of the guys.
Looking back off of the Toyota onboard of Terry Cook at that 51 of Kyle Busch. Again, Kyle Busch is battling, but the best he can do right now is 8th. Terry Cook has the 7th spot. Matt Craftsman was able to get by Dennis Setzer to take over 3rd. And with that, he is close to within 1 point of Johnny Benson. There's another Romeo window problem, it looks like, for Terry Cook.
See Kyle Busch, the 51, moved to the inside. That Mikasuki Toyota going to take over that 7th spot from, or try to take over that 7th spot from Terry Cook. Terry's got a good run going in that Weiler Toyota.
The last time by, Phil, the fastest truck on the track was the second place truck of Michael Annett. He ran a 10th better than our leader, Johnny Benson. So this thing up front isn't decided yet.
These two trucks continue to run side by side around this 1.5-mile racetrack, working through 3 and 4, now about to come back in front of the grandstand. Johnny Benson across the start-finish line in front of Michael Annett. And that 88 of Matt Craftsman, they're running 1, 2, 3. This again is a battle back behind them for 7th. Kyle Busch just in front of Terry Cook, and then Terry Cook continues to battle on the outside and gets back in front of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, nice run on the outside that time. There's a 15 of Mark. Ooh, a little contact there. Kyle ran in the back of Terry.
Little wobble, and now Kyle Busch continuing to badger that 60 of Terry Cook.
Musgrave's going to enter that battle. He's side by side with Kyle's teammate, the 15 of Mark Mitchell.
10 laps to go is what the official was letting them know. We've closed into the final 10 laps at Kentucky Speedway.
This is just a great battle. These guys are evenly matched. Kyle is able to make a move down on the bottom of the racetrack. Terry Cook up high.
Terry Cook trying to keep that momentum up on the higher line around Kentucky Speedway. We'll see if it works for him as he comes out of turn number 4. And this time Kyle Busch has completely cleared him. He's moved back in front of Terry Cook, takes that 7th spot away.
Terry's got a couple guys right behind him trying to wrestle that spot away. There's our leader right there, Johnny Benson. He's got almost a second lead right now on the 22 of Michael Annett.
Coming up on a slower lap truck on the racetrack, so Johnny Benson clears that lap truck and continues to drive away from the 22 of Michael Annett. Michael Annett and Matt Craftsman running 2nd and 3rd. Dennis Setzer has dropped back to 4th. Michael Annett, one final charge. He has just 8 laps to go.
I'm telling you guys, he's right there.
He is right there. You can see just a little bit of lap traffic. Johnny Benson had to take just a tiny bit different line off turn 4. Michael Annett closed in a half a second on him.
How about that run for Bill Davis Racing right now? 1st, 2nd, and 6th. Johnny Benson, Michael Annett, and Mike Skinner.
Big night. And we heard earlier the crew chief and spotter saying, okay, you see which line the 5 is running? It's working. Well, now he's got another teammate in front of him. You see which line the 23 is running? Well, it's working. But try to find a better line because we want to get by him.
It's a battle for 11th right there. Stacy Compton has it. Ted Musgrave right behind him. And here comes Ron Hornaday. Remember, he started towards the back here of the lead lap. He's going to make his move on the bottom, try to get underneath that 59 of Musgrave.
Hornaday battling back from a lap down. Now running 13th on the racetrack behind Ted Musgrave.
You just can't overcome a mistake late in one of these races. It's too competitive. There's too many good trucks, and you make a mistake early, you get away with it. One late, it does you in.
I'm telling you right now, guys, this points battle is going to really tighten up after this race. Johnny Benson had a 1-point lead over Matt Craftsman as they were running on the racetrack, and now Ron Hornaday is coming back up through the field. So we are really going to have a very tight points battle at the end of this race.
I expected nothing less. We know this thing's
at the halfway point.
We know this thing's going to go right down to the very end. There's Ron Hornaday trying to get 4 more points and a position from the 4 of Stacy Compton.
A year ago, Ron Hornaday and Mike Skinner had the rest of these guys shut out for hopes of a championship. This year, what do you think, 6, 8?
Potentially 8
Absolutely.
or 10. It's going to be unbelievable when we come down to that final race. Under 5 laps of racing to go. The battle continuing for 11th. Stacy Compton and Ron Hornaday out in front. Johnny Benson, Michael Annett. The gap has been closed once again. Annett gained 0.2 of a second the last time by. Can he close the gap even further? 4 laps to go from Kentucky.
Michael Annett is having the ride of his life. He's already won a couple ARCA REMAX races at Talladega and at Daytona, trying to put his name in the record book as a winner in the Truck Series.
His career best coming into this race, a 6th at Milwaukee earlier this year in just his 4th start this evening, looking to improve on that tonight. That time by 6.5 of a second. Behind Johnny Benson, it looks as though Johnny Benson on cruise control out in front, and now Stacy Compton battling back on the outside of Ron Hornaday.
This is that battle for 11th. They continue to battle those 3 trucks. Hornaday, see if he can clear Stacy Compton. Looks like he has him cleared if he can move up the hill in front of Stacy.
And he is going to be able to complete that pass. Now he'll set his sights up ahead on John Wood, who's right along in the 10th spot. Ron would love to get a top 10 after his problems late in the race.
2 laps remaining. Johnny Benson going into turn 1 and 2. Michael Annett has dropped back to a 2nd behind him. So Johnny Benson pouring it on with 2 laps to go from Kentucky.
You know Johnny Benson's not going to make any mistakes. If this race goes green the rest of the way, he's one of the veterans in this series. Trying to get his 2nd win of the season. White flag out, 1 to go.
1 lap remaining, 1.5 miles for the 45-year-old out of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Got a little bit of traffic he's going to have to negotiate, Rick. Last time he had to do that, he lost half of his lead. Makes it clearly past Eric Darnell. Eric goes really high up the track, giving the leaders plenty of room.
1/2 lap to go for JB.
Johnny Benson looking to find victory lane for the 2nd time in 2008. It will be his first win at Kentucky Speedway in just his 4th start at this racetrack. Johnny Benson will win at Kentucky.
Great run for Michael Annett. Matt Craftsman continues to show that he's for real. Dennis Setzer with a top 5 run, and David Starr and Kyle Busch gets his way back up to the 6th position. Mike Skinner gets passed by Kyle Busch late.
He got passed by him at the line. They had a battle right down to the checker flag. Skinner on the apron, and Kyle Busch slipped by about a half a truck.
Now at our scoring monitor, I'm looking at this and seeing 7 Toyota Tundras in the top 9. That is impressive.
That's domination, and it's good to see Dennis Setzer and his Dodge get up there and mix it up with them boys too.
Chris DeBoat, I believe you've got a winning crew chief.
I do indeed. Trip Bruce, the winning crew chief of tonight's race. And you guys knew you were strong really the whole race, but what a great night for your entire organization. You had young Michael Annett behind you. You guys were able to hold him off.
Yeah, that was exciting for all of us, all the guys. Everybody helps each other all weekend long back in the shop and everything. It's a good night for Toyota and Bill Davis Racing. Toyota certified used vehicles. Tundra was fast all weekend. I said it earlier. And, we just kind of backed up what we've been working on. So great job to Johnny Benson. He's smooth. He's really smooth. Pit crew, awesome. Been that way all year. It's just really fun.
You have cold water running down your back right now, don't you? All right, that's Trip Bruce, the winning crew chief, and you see the evidence behind him. He talks about how much this is a winning organization. You see the guys from Michael Annett's team come down to congratulate Johnny Benson's crew.
Check this battle. You think these guys don't want every spot they can get? Kyle Busch got to run on the outside of Mike Skinner and just barely beats him back to the line. Kyle Busch gets that 6th spot off Mike Skinner on the last lap.
How close was it? Oh, about 3/100ths of a second separating those two for that position. 2nd win for Toyota at Kentucky. Johnny Benson heads to victory lane.
Johnny Benson had completed every lap at Kentucky but had never led the last lap. And Johnny, I think the only person more soaked in victory lane right now than you is me. Your crew really did us in. But what was the difference tonight, your first win at Kentucky?
I tell you what, we sure did learn a lot from last year. What we did, we were really good at practice and just got really loose in the race. So I told Tripp, I says, this is a point where we went bad last year, so we quit practice. And got to really thank Toyota Certified Used Vehicles, Excite Batteries, just everybody involved, Mentex Brakes. God, there's so many of them, Bosch and Valvoline, just, I mean, everybody involved. It's just awesome, awesome. So, Safecraft seat belts kept me safe all day. Didn't have to use them, which is great. But Tripp Bruce is a man. I mean, he just really built a great truck, and it was tough. Got to thank TRD Toyota for great bodies they put on these, great horsepower. Dyson did a great job all the time. And it ran good, but it wasn't easy today, though. It may have looked easy, but it was just a little slick out there today.
Well, you said about 8 to 10 teams still have a shot at this championship. With this win, have you guys surged ahead? Do you have an extra sense of momentum right now that other teams don't have?
Well, I think we've been good all year. You know, we had our problems at Atlanta, which kind of hurt us. We had our problems at Martinsville. And, of course, last week, me over-revving the engine and breaking that was probably the huge hurt because that was preventable. The other ones may have not have been. So, you know, apologize for the engine guys for that. But it's just week in and week out, Tripp gives me something that's capable of winning a race or at least running in the top 5 for sure. And if we can see the front and get there, I'm fairly confident that if we work hard, we're able to get there. But they did great pit stops. We had to do a strategy a little early on because we had a loose right front tire, which I'm glad that caution come out. But these guys continue to do a great job. Bill and Gail, thank you very much and Toyota for giving me a great opportunity to have some fun. And do you want to talk at all? But I'm just going away here. It's just it's way cool for us, that's for sure.
That's all right. You deserve it. And Johnny Benson is once again the points leader by 1 point over the guy standing by with Adam Alexander.
Yeah, all kinds of breathing room over this guy, Matt Craftsman, who picked up his 7th top 5 of 2008 tonight. Truck was good all night long. What was the difference there at the end on trying to get those guys?
Just track position with everything. I mean, I can honestly say this Menard Chevy Silverado, and there's races where we didn't think we had the best truck. When we won at Charlotte, people put us down or whatever, want to say we didn't have the best truck, but I honestly say we had the best truck tonight. We just didn't have the track position. I mean, to be early in the race, I had raced with Johnny and drove away from Johnny, and he had took 2 at one point, and he got the track position. He never, I mean, once you got out there in the lead, it was just night and day difference. We did it in practice. I got out in front of some people and then got behind him, and you'd lose 2 to 3 tenths. So track position, everything, but I can't thank these guys. They're awesome in the pits. I mean, did a great job each and every time they come over the wall. They're awesome. I mean, building great trucks. This truck's brand new. Just took it to the wind tunnel on Monday, and it's good. Excited for the rest of the year.
Another great run for Craftsman tonight, and he goes to a place he loves next week, ORP. Ray?
I'll tell you what, Adam, very impressive run for Michael and Ned here in the Pilot Travel Center's Toyota. And I'll tell you what, a 6th, an 11th, and a 2nd in your 3 races. You got to be awful excited about Craftsman Truck Series.
Yeah, I tell you what, just this equipment I'm in, and the guys that I'm surrounded with, like Doug Wolcott, he made a great call there tonight, and track position was everything. Got us out front, and JB got biased, and who better follow than your teammate, with all that experience. And our truck kind of came to life as soon as I got behind him, and after that, the double deuce was running pretty fast.
Good truck tonight and a good wheelman. Michael Annette finishes 2nd in Kentucky. Guys?
And Michael Annette referenced what we are going to take a look at, our Just for Men stay in the game moment. This is the 23 making the 4-wide pass for the lead. Johnny Benson moving to the bottom of the racetrack, gets by Michael Annette.
You got to jump on him when you get the chance, Rick. And who knows, if Michael Annette's able to get the lead on that restart, we heard Matt Craftsman talk about the importance of track position. Maybe we have a different winner in victory lane. Johnny Benson deserves a lot of credit for saying, I got to go for it right now. I got to pounce right now.
Big night for Bill Davis Racing. This becomes the 20th win for Bill Davis Racing. That makes them now 2nd for all-time wins of the active team still in the Craftsman Truck Series. Celebration continuing from Kentucky Speedway. Welcome back. The Built Ford Tough 225 being claimed by the 23 of Johnny Benson here at Kentucky Speedway under the lights in Sparta, Kentucky. Guy who came home in 4th tonight, a very impressive finish, Dennis Setzers with Adam Alexander.
Yeah, his crew chief made a nice pit call. 2 tires on that final stop of the night. Marcus Richmond made that call, and Dennis Setzer drives it to 4th. How do you feel about that second top 5 of the year?
That was really great. You know, Marcus always does a great job on top of the box, you know, for our Tahoe Dodge. Made a great call, got the 2 tires, got his track position. We've been pretty decent all night, just hard to get up through there. But I'm really proud of the whole team, what they've done.
Yeah, and Stacy Compton able to rally finish 12th. Solid night for BHR Virginia. Krista?
Well, David Starr loves this racetrack. He always says, I love Kentucky, and you especially love it when you get to go home with a top 5. Talk about your night.
I tell you what, Tom DeLoach, Jeff Hammond, they got an awesome racing team, Red Horse Racing. My crew chief, Jamie Jones, they did an awesome job tonight. All my guys on my team, they made the right adjustments. Jamie made the right calls. They did a heck of a job coming over the wall. I really thought we were going to be able to take Dennis and a couple other guys up there that only took 2 tires, because we took 4 right there at the end. But I get up behind him and I lose the nose. But we're giving all we got. We're just glad to be back in the top 5 again. The second week, second race, top 5. So we're heading in the right direction. So exciting night for us.
All right, the Red Horse team, they get some legs under them in the home of the horses here in the Bluegrass State.
Well, let's take a look at the unofficial results. We've heard from the top 5. Now let's take a look at who rounds out that top 10.
That last lap, you never know about championships, but Ron Hornaday picked up 1 spot by passing John Wood on the last lap, and Mike Skinner lost 1, getting passed by Kyle Busch. Last year, that would have been a lead change in the point standings. Those guys flip-flop so many times.
Hey, great runs by Terry Cook back in 8th. Mark Mitchell with a career best in 9th.
Yep.
In a backup truck.
Rick Crawford, a top 15. How about Willie Allen? First run for Randy Moss Motorsports, a top 15 finish for that team.
See, Donnie Leah rounds out the top 20. The second truck 1 lap down.
Problems for Jack Sprague tonight. 2 laps down. He was such a dominant truck in practice and had such a good qualifying run, but they knew there was a problem early on in this race.
People said he had the best truck, but he had problems and got a 22nd place finish. That's pretty good managing of a bad situation.
Now let's take a look at our point standings, and it always is close in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. How about this? Yes, it's 101 points back to 5th, but the top 3 separated by 5 points.
We actually have a closer battle in the top 6 than what we had. We had 113 points coming in here, 1st through 6th. Now it's 111.
Again, a reminder, they don't reset points in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We go all the way, 25 races. The next one on the schedule, ORP, O'Reilly Raceway Park in Indianapolis, qualifying at 5 o'clock. The setup at 7:30 and the race at 8.
And there will be some beating and banging at ORP.
And there was here. You know, at Kentucky Speedway, you think you got to lay off each other. These guys were on it tonight and expected to look a whole lot like that next week.
The horsepower came out for the 23 team. It was Johnny Benson winning in Kentucky.
Thank you for watching Speed's Home in the Bluegrass Weekend.
NASCAR on Speed. Be there.